My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle. And today we have Mr. Charlie Palmer with me. So, Mr. Palmer, if you will, before we start, for those who don't know you, share who you
hmm
are and what you do.
Well, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Charlie Palmer. I am a visual artist and a dreamer. Uh, I have been doing this thing here for 40 something years as a fine artist as well as a illustrator. I've illustrated 14 or so children books um, and have done numerous art exhibits. I also did the U.S. stamp, postal stamp for of Judge Constance Baker Motley. I finished that, the first of the year was when they released that. Did John Legend's album cover, Time Magazine, NBA 2K. Currently working on a real nice project with DC Comics and a bunch of other things, man. So I'm just kind of staying busy.
So, to start it off, I would like to ask, how did you start your career as an artist, and what age?
All right, so didn't start my career until after. I did go to school. I went to art school. So after I graduated from high school, I first went to the Art Institute in Chicago, and then transferred to the American Academy of Art also in Chicago because I just saw that the program at the Art Institute was too loose, and I was not trying to be a carefree, do your thing artist. I wanted to be a professional artist, and I saw the discipline required of being an artist when it came to the American Academy of Art. So I transferred there. And so I did that. But then when I came out of school, the recession had started. It was the early 80s. And so I was unemployed for a while. And it was really cool because going back now, remember the Chicago Tribute did a free ad for anybody, one ad for anybody that's looking for work. I applied, got a job, and actually did. And I have to see if I can find that clip one day. A CBS, national news interview because I got hired from that little ad, and that's when my career started. So I started in a little company that wasn't really doing art; they were doing design, but it was
Mhm.
a start for me. You know.
So, how old were you when you actually started doing art?
So I started doing art or started doing it professionally.
Start doing art, period.
I know I started doing art when I was 4 years old,
Mm.
and it could be time stamped by what was going on at the time because that's around the time the Beatles came to America, and it was something that was really fascinating to me as a 4 year old, 5 year old. So all I did was drew pictures of the Beatles over and over again, and so that's kind of where I first started drawing, and probably where I first kind of realized I love doing this thing. It wasn't something I'm thinking I'm gonna make a living at it because I didn't know anything about living existing artists. I like drawing, so that's where I started.
Being with there, when I know you ended up saying that later on you start working with that company.
Right.
Growing up, did you see a lot of artists that was making money off of art, like in school, going through school and things, especially black artists?
No, no, no. So the first time I was introduced to somebody who was an artist that was kind of making some money, but he wasn't doing full time. This guy's name is Gerald Dwayne Coleman, and he's still in Milwaukee now. But he was my barber, and so he used to cut my hair as a kid. But he also did art, and somehow he started painting. And then sometime I would go into the barber shop and I would see his paintings on the wall. And Gerald was the first actually to give me an art show when I was 16 years old, or maybe 15 years old. But no, I didn't see it, didn't know it was possible. So it was something that I learned later on. And that's why I think for me it becomes really important, Carlos, that I kind of talk to these young people now, young black people now, and let them know you can make a living at this. It's like I start every one of these kind of presentations by saying find something that you enjoy doing and you'll never have to work a day in your life. That's not to say that the hustle ain't there, that the hard work ain't there, but you're literally doing something that you love doing and people are paying you for it. And so that's the blessing for me. But yeah, I started, like my real career like 6 months out of college, and I was probably about 21 or 22 then when I really started making a living creatively.
I can tell as a creator and as one who started young but
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that this could become what who you are now.
Right.
It's kind of like mind blowing to see that your gift literally will make room for you and put you before great men, but also make you great in your own essence.
Yeah. I think the thing is, I think I loved something that Mike Tyson said not too long ago. Um, he said that if you're never tested, you'll never have a testimony. And I'm like, I think that people want certain things, but they're not willing to work for it. And I mean, really work for it. I mean, work through all the rejections, the laughter, the doubt, the naysayers, all of that. And say, you know what? I hear y'all, but this is what I want. And so this is what I want. So I'm willing to do what it takes to get there. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say, because I think it's too broad a statement. And I think I talk too literal. I would not say I do anything to do what I'm doing, but I would say that I love this thing and it's really important to me. And so I have made lots of sacrifices to pursue this dream. You know, I'm happy with it. There are days I'm exhausted because it's a lot of work, but there are days I say, man, I can't believe people are paying me to do this. You know, you know.
And to your point, I'm pretty sure, especially been doing this for 40 years, when you
Mm-hmm.
first started, when was it that clicked that you said that I'm going to put it all into this?
From the very beginning.
Mm.
You know, so I from the very beginning said I'm going to put all into this, but there were times that I had to ask myself, am I crazy? Because I'm not making any money. I'm living assignment to assignment, and sometimes overlapping assignments. Like, damn, I don't know when I'm gonna get the next check. You know, I didn't have a salary coming in every week, 2 weeks, or whatever. So it was like, you know what? It was, and that's probably why I moved the way I move even today. Is that works are always overlapping. You know, so you can't say, okay, I'm gonna work on this job, and as soon as I get paid on this job, I'm gonna go to the next job. I'm gonna work on that job, and then I get paid. I'm gonna work on. I'm like, no, I'm gonna work on this job. I'm gonna work on this job. I'm gonna work on this job. I'm gonna work on this job, and find some way to make all of them work, because I can't rely on that one check, that second check. It's all those checks that come in that help me to continue to do what I'm doing. You know, so at any given time in the last 25 years or longer, I am working on no less than, 2 or 3 or 5 projects at the same time. Like right now, I know I have 2 books that I've just finished, children books that are in the can, so they're done, but there's a tour that comes with one of them that I got to get ready for. And then I have an art show this summer. I have an art show in May, an art show this summer. And then I have a book cover for DC Comics that I got to finish. Um, there's something else there that I'm thinking. Oh yeah, I got another book illustration for a book that I'm currently working on. And it, again, at any time, I'm also just painting on paintings that I want to paint on, because I have no idea where this painting is gonna go, but I know I got to do it. You know.
So tell me about some of the hardships, because there's been times in early on where you said that you didn't know when
Mm-hmm.
or where money was going to come from, but there came a
Right.
time that things started working for you. I like to say God allowed things to happen in time, or the
Mm-hmm.
fruit of your labor start working.
Right. You know what? I always say, which has been said many a time before. I said my God has a sense of humor. And what I mean is, every time I freak out, every time I panic, every time I start doubting, God comes through. And it's like why is it? And I guess it's that lack mentality that we all exist in when you've come from a place of poor, like really poor, where And it's like I'm listening to a documentary with Giannis, and Giannis is driven by the fact that he was once a dirt poor kid, like poor, like you wouldn't believe. 1 meal a day if you're lucky, sometimes 1 meal a week. And he said, I never want to go back there again. That's never driven me, but there's always that lack mentality where I've been there and I don't ever want to be at a point where I am desperate for money. And that's where, like, because it hurts, and artists have done this before, artists have experienced this before, where you have rent paid, the rent is due, and somebody comes in and say, hey, I know you're asking, 3,000 for that piece, but I know you need the money. So I'll give you 1,500 for that piece. And you're offended, you're hurt. You don't want to say yes, but you got to be realistic. If you have a family, you got to feed them. And so it's like there have been those times where it's like, I know what I'll say this about it, Carlos. My experience also, or my decision was when I saw somebody move like that with me. I'm like, when I make it, you got a good deal, but come back to me again and watch what happens. Because you're gonna have to pay for what you did because you really took advantage of a situation. I understand you being a business person, you did what you had to do, but you could have been just kind. You could have been more generous, but you chose to be an opportunist. And so I recognize that, and I recognize that's how some people move. But I'm not angered by that. I'm only disappointed by that kind of behavior.
And because you understand yourself and how you would move if you were put in that predicament, or somebody was put in that predicament, how you would do,
And
especially
you know what?
being a
Yeah,
creator.
that's the other thing about like I understanding that the ancestors have me. That like if somebody comes to me, especially if I'm working with a young artist, and I say, hey man, how much for that? And they say 150. I said, okay, I'm gonna give you 200. And they're like, wait a minute, you just negotiated it up. I'm like, yeah, because this work is worth more than what you're selling it for. And so let me help you to elevate your worth because you don't know it yet. I know that's the right thing to do. And I also know that a lot of people don't move in the righteous way. They move in the opportunist way. And that's I'm where I'm at today with my success because I trusted in God and the ancestors, and I've worked from a place of being genuine and authentic. And that's really important to my success.
There is an artist, a mutual friend that we have, that
Hmm.
he equates his success to God bringing you in his life and the ancestors, allowing
Hmm.
you to walk in his life. And me and you met, and then I got to let him know about you being in the area. And
Hmm.
he always talk about how you came into his life, and his life shot up after meeting you.
Hmm.
And I always tell you this. I'm grateful for you doing that for him, because his journey, what you didn't know, I don't know if you knew the state of his life
he
at the time.
he didn't tell me. But see, the thing is, like, again, if you move in this place where you understand how the energy of the universe works, you just got to be obedient. It's like I don't know why I'm saying that to this person. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm being told to do it. And it's been like it's those awkward times, especially if you might be, and I am on the shy side, and I have to go up to somebody and say, hey, and say something to them that seems a little different. Or even like some days, going up to a beautiful woman who I can see doesn't see it. And all I'm doing, there's no motive behind it other than the ancestors say, go compliment your sister. And
I'm
it's
like,
like, it ain't a pickup. I'm not trying to pick you up. You will you may never see me again. But today I see the sadness in your face, and the ancestors are saying, go acknowledge her beauty. And I say, hey, I just want to let you know you're beautiful. And I'm like, I just needed to tell you that because I don't think you know it. And I go keep it moving. You know what I mean? Or in the case of your guy, I don't know, man. Like, like when he told me his story later on, it's like, man, I had no clue. All I did was I saw your work. Like, so believe it or not, I met him face to face for the first time the same day I met you.
mm-hmm.
And that's 2 years after his success has taken off. And I'm like, wow. And I promise you, I celebrated because I know I had nothing to do with it other than be obedient and open that door for him to open that door. And I've seen him also be intentional about doing the same. And I've seen others around say, hey, I work with him. And I'm like, okay, then I've done my job. Because that's all I want is for a person that I might in any way encourage or inspire to encourage and inspire the next person.
Uh, your story inspires me. Just seeing another artist that look like me, that
Mm-hmm.
have God and the ancestors have taken to a whole extreme to me, because you are living history.
Mm-hmm.
And while some of the people here may not know your name, I get to put a face with the name. And
Mm-hmm.
those who know the name but has never seen you in person, I get to
Mm-hmm.
show them what we can truly do when you walk in your purpose and in your gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure there's been times, because you have spoken about them, but you have a helpmate, your wife, that
Mm-hmm.
has also set fire. I don't know how long y'all was married, but I'm pretty sure some of those times when y'all was together and you was trying to figure this thing out, how did she actually push you?
You know what? It's like I am like so there's a term that people like using that really deeply offends me, and I explain to them why. For any artist that approaches me and says I'm self-taught, I said
Mm-hmm.
there's no such thing as a self-taught artist. There's no possibility of being self-taught, because to have been self-taught is to have created your own tools, to have never seen another piece of artwork in your life, and to just start creating stuff, and that's self. But if you've seen art that inspires you, you've already been taught something. And then if you've seen any videos or read any books, or if you had any teacher, even if it was just grade school and an art teacher did something for you, that's somebody. So I think self-taught is to be ego driven by the idea that you believe you are the one creating the art that's coming out from your hands. And so I think it's very much about acknowledging, having, like in the case of even my partner, my wife, it's like I introduced art to her,
Okay.
and she's now just in love with art. But what we are in love with is Black people, and we are like so in love with us that we are on a mission to make a difference for us. And so we try to make ourselves available to do for us, to uplift for us. And I've said before, honestly, and I know you've experienced this yourself, my brother, it's like, it ain't easy sometimes to love us.
Mm-mm.
There are days that we don't make it easy to love, but I love y'all anyway. I have to, because we all have our story. We've all had our challenges. We've all had our disappointments, and so it's like, I get all that. And so in my journey of even relationships and trying to find the right wife, I've had some missteps in my journey to
Mm-hmm.
find the wife, like the right wife. But what I say about that is that there has never been a wife prior to this wife that there was something wrong with them.
Mm-mm.
It's just that they weren't meant for me and my journey. And so uh, it's like, you're not a bad person. It's just that how you think, how you move in this world is so different than how I believe. And I can't make you go my journey. I can't make you go my way. So I need to find somebody that when I speak a certain language, she understands it and she can move with me. And so that's how me and my wife move. We move in ways that lady drops gems on me all the time, like, because she's just a brilliant mind. She's funny, she's creative, she's fearless, and those are the kinds of things I told her. And no disrespect to any partner that I've had prior to her, I said I've kept making a mistake of trying to find someone and bring them up to me, as opposed to, I almost, and this is me, I've always hesitated to go after a woman that I thought was on my level or above me. And so I said, let me get one and bring them up not let me get one that's here and we can go higher. And so to see someone that I thought was like this woman's a bit above me. She's got some vibrations going on that's greater than me, intimidated me. But I'm like, shoot your shot and see what happens. But it kind of like we made a connection, and we know the ancestors have a lot to do with that. But it's taken us both to another level.
I always tell everybody, I seen this somewhere. It said it took 1,000 years for y'all to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Now what you're supposed to do is make sure you nurture the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's how special things are. And kind of to yourself, you was being built. All those other relationships, like you say, you ain't saying
Mm-hmm.
that they want great women, but you were being built for this one through the many.
Mm-hmm.
That you get prepared in your essence to be able to align with where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that's an art. I
Yeah.
look at everything as art. There's a few more questions, and then
Okay.
I'm also gonna let you go. When you made it, how did it feel? And making it is or success is on different levels now. But
Uh,
when you did, what did it feel like?
you know what? My first response would be like, when I make it, I'll let you know. Because I don't think anybody's made it. I think everybody's on a life journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made it when I've transitioned. When I've passed away, I have made it. Uh, and so I am at a place now where I'm truly blessed, and I recognize when I was interviewed 2 weeks ago because I received an award in Texas for our children's book. It was a top
Congratulations.
children's book writer and author. Thank you. And one of the kids asked this beautiful question. She says, "What is it? What at this point in your life do you dream or hope to have?" And like I paused for a minute and I thought about it. I said, "I got everything I want." I
Mm.
said, at this point, I'm at a point in my life where I feel so grateful that I'm living in my purpose and I'm living my dream, and there's nothing I lack for or want. I mean, if it was outside of me, I would want my children to all be happy. Outside of me, I wish there was more peace and love and understanding. Outside of me, I wish there was fairness in this world. I don't know why the word was ever created, because this world is not fair. Life is not fair. I wish it was fairer. I wish the rich were not as rich. I wish the poor were not as poor. Um, but those are all outside of me. But when it comes to me and what's surrounding me, I'm in a place of joy, and I feel just really blessed that I'm here. I work on assignments. I told my wife one day, I'm like, I look at the assignments that I've done in the last, let's say, 3 years, and any one would have been a dream project for so many artists.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had so many, and the blessings just keep coming. But I kind of say, you know what? I must have done something very good because the ancestors and God continue to reward me. That's the life I'm living.
To that point, I heard something this morning on Instagram. It was a guy. He said, "If you only had 90 days to live, what would you change? What would you do?" And he said most people said they would quit their job.
Hmm.
And just from hearing you speak, I don't believe you would do anything different. Because
You know
one,
what?
oh, go ahead.
You know what? I would, if I only had 90 days, I would stop painting, and I would spend every minute of that time with my families, like my grandkids, my kids, my siblings, my cousins. I would like 90 days. The art is now going. I mean, I got enough. I'm looking around the studio right now. I got so much work that I've done just for the fun of it. I'm like, but what's going to become of all that when I'm gone? I want them to remember that I love them, that they made a difference for me, they inspired me, and I am because of them. And that becomes more important at that point than trying to finish one more painting. The painting, the joy within of creating is wonderful, but I need them to know that I love them and appreciate them. So if I had 90 days, it would stop painting altogether and spend all of that time loving those around me that probably don't know enough how much they matter to me.
So technically, to that point that man said, you would quit your job just to
Yeah. Yeah.
do
See, but
more of something.
this is not a job. This
No,
is
no,
like my
I
wife
no.
said one day. Yeah, you
When
know,
I
she
said I
came.
don't
She said,
mean job, but
"Uh huh,
it's something
uh huh,
that you love, so it's not a
right,
job to you.
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
And
I would just follow the rest of my time, 90 days, loving those around me."
so I guess I'm gonna leave it with this. Outside, I can tell you love family, people, art. Out of all these things, I know you love family and being and loving on people more than anything because you love your community.
Hmm.
And for me, I want to once again thank you for being who you are, being the inspiration, and putting the aspiration into everything that you do for us. Because when you get to see greatness, you can become greatness. And
I believe it.
I want to ask you, who was your inspiration when it came to art? That's number one. And then the last thing I'm gonna get you to do is give me words of wisdom for a new coming artist, old artist, whoever it may be that may hear this, and they can take that word of wisdom and move with it.
Mm. Okay. There's so many inspirational people. One who's still here on this earth is Paul Goodnight. Paul Goodnight has always been a teacher in his wisdom of words, but in how he moves. Carl Owens, who's been gone now 15 to 20 years, was just a master artist and just a beautiful person. Gerald Dwayne Coleman is a good example. There's a lot of these people from where I came from in Milwaukee, where these black artists doing their thing, and they all really made a difference for me. And I think I know that I'm on a mission to make a difference for black artists before I leave. And I think it came from the difference that those people made for me. And then when it comes to words of wisdom, it's like, it's like find something that you are willing to like die for, um, and do that thing. Um, um, and it's not like fight, protest. It's like express. If you just love cooking, open a restaurant. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And just cook and cook with love. Um, Find whatever it is that you are convinced that you're on this earth to do, and follow it with your full intentions of succeeding, and you define what success is. Because like I find, like when I'm working with these young people, a lot of times they don't quite know what exactly it is that they're wanting to do or what they want to accomplish. They just want to make a living at it, and there needs to be a more thought out plan. Cause do you want to be famous, or do you want to be Instagram famous? I don't know what that means, right? But do you want to be art famous? Do you want to be just looked up and revered as an artist that thinks deeply, or are you trying to be a real artist? And if you're trying to be a real artist, there's a lot of work that takes for you to commit to learn what it is to be an artist, to learn technique and form and originality and all that kind of stuff. Be willing to do the work. And in doing so, if nothing else, you'll get the sense of gratification in that you've done it. Whether you succeed in the definition given by the world, but you may have succeeded in your heart and at least being good at that thing. And that might be all that matters. And who am I to judge?
that's powerful. Mainly, what I heard from everything was discipline. Put the discipline in to get what you
Hmm.
want, and what God and the ancestors will do is bring it. But you just got to
Yeah.
be disciplined enough and persevere. I had perseverance through this whole thing because it was times
Hmm.
that you could have went back to, hey, the job field, but you
Hmm.
chose to stay into what you loved. And to me, like I said, you haven't made it till you leave here, but you are the
Hmm.
greatest, one of the greatest successes that I know, and I am grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you, man, and thank you for not giving up, man. Like I woke up this morning and I looked at I called RJ and said, "Hey, man, I got an appointment at 12 o'clock. What's that about?" And he says, "Guy named Carl." I'm like, "Yo, oh yeah, Carlos. Yes, let's do that today." So I'm glad that you did not give up, man. I swear, like I just got an insane calendar, but yeah, I'm glad we were finally able to make this all happen, man. And I wish you continued success on your journey.
Hey, I realized something. God and the ancestors had this all planned out. Me, I'm just walking through the journey, and I know not to give up. I have that same everything that you just spoke about, from
Mm-hmm.
hearing people tell you, "Man, you look crazy." I had a when I was in prison and I was writing my doing my artwork to my book. I had a seller tell me, he said, "Your artwork ain't going, excuse my language, your artwork ain't gonna do shit." And I could have stopped there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And here I am now, 10 years later, watching doors open, watching being able to meet people who I read about sitting in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mind blowing that God is opening up the doors for me to meet people that I couldn't have made this up. It was
Yeah.
meant to happen. I just know to keep moving on the journey and watch the journey do what it's supposed to do, because we are all called, as you said, with a purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that life is amazing when you really look at it. When you really find the joy from within, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the way you put it, I couldn't have worded no better. There's a lot of stuff I wish that went right out here, but
Mm-hmm.
what I found from within is the joy of learning what you are able to do because of God's grace and the ancestors that have fought for us to get here. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with that, I am thankful to be a part of your life and you being a part of mine.
All right. It's a pleasure, man.
That's an honor. So, with that, thank you for joining us. This is Art and Hustle. That's Mr. Charlie Palmer. My name is Carlos Walker, and I appreciate y'all.